Hello everybody and welcome to Lush and Salty Aquariums. My name is Stefan and this is my 20-gallon Oase Cinescaper tank, the kit that I got, which came with this fabulous cabinet. And there's some wonderful videos about what this kit looks like if you want to see some of the particulars. But the reason I am making this video is because my daughters were here for spring break and one of them noticed in this tank that she goes, "Dad, it's really grassy at the bottom." And you know, it had accumulated like 4 inches of this combination of dwarf hairgrass, dwarf sage, and moss, and probably some cryptocorn, and probably some helenthium. And she was right. So what I did, and what you're looking at, believe it or not, this is about 4 days after taking the long shears and going in there and literally cutting it like a lawn, like a golf course lawn. And it really made a difference. It gave this scape, which was starting to grate on me a little bit. I mean, it's lovely and all, but as you move forward with your aquariums, it's okay to want to fiddle with them, and I was getting that itch. And before I ever do something radical like that, I try to just see if I can't work with the cards that I have. The scape that I created, which was always supposed to be my favorite plant, Hygrophila pinifida, operating as a bush plant from left to right, a carpet in the front with hair grass, and then stems in the back. And that's essentially what I have, but I've had to do a lot of adjusting. So I put Lemonthilio sessiflora, that stem back there, and pulled out what was there before, which was a kind of rotala, a lot like this one. I kept this one, and I have to keep cutting it, and I don't want to pull it, but the bottom, which we can't see, is pretty much just sticks. But up here, what we do see is super red, and I love that. Now, I do put CO2 in this tank. This plant grows super fast, and that red will be up at the water surface in no time. And then Pogostem and Octopus, my new best friend, is in the center of this tank, and I've already cut it a couple times, but it gives me some air, right? I don't have this thick, dense forest in the back there, of which you can't see a damn thing, and algae can algae and moss can find itself in there, and before you know it, there's big clumps. And I had discovered some of that going on. So now with the sessiflora and the Pogostem and Octopus and the Rotala H-Ra back there, and the Hygrophila pinifida, the cryptocorn, and then the carpet, which I mowed and wanted to show, I've got 4 fairly distinct layers, and so I'm re-happy with this tank. Re-happy. Folks, I used to be a writer, so I beg your pardon with making up words like that. I'm rejuvenated by an old friend, this fish tank. Now I've got these longfin albino coreodoras. Everybody likes albino coreodoras and panda coreodoras, but I wanted it to be a little bit more special. So these are some high fin variety that I got at a local swap last month. But when I cut this carpet down, you know, I could see all these fun fish playing on it, right? An occasional shrimp rummaging through it, whereas before it was so dense that I didn't see anything but the carpet. And it was, as my daughter said, a little too grassy, right? So if I had neighbors, they'd say, "Hey, why don't you mow the lawn, bruh?" Let's talk about some of these other fish since I'm on the tank. This is the red Becksford's pencil fish. I've got about 8 of them, and I've got these candy cane tetras in here as well. And they're all really, really happy. I'm frankly surprised that they're not right out in front. You see all the pencil fish doing what they do. They can be very motionless, like pencils sitting on a desk. These guys, if I threw some baby brine in there, they are voracious. What a beautiful fish, right? For a $5 tetra, give or take. I've got a group of them that I bought at Fish Planet on the north side, North Shore in Chicago. I wish you could see more of them. And then there's some green neons in here as well. Quite a large group actually. And even though I just bragged about how I can now see through, there's the green neons, it's still very dense, all right? And there's like 20 of those green neons, and honestly, I see 4. There's one down in there. You know, look at them. They're like little hidden jewels. Now, I'm sure they're really, really happy with this arrangement. In a perfect world, they'd be really, really happy, and I would see them more. But better them than me in many respects. When you're a fish keeper, you gotta respect the fish. There's a longfin plecostomus, kind of a calico, more of a common variety. He's grown somewhat since I put him in this tank as a young juvenile. And before I shut this down, I was hoping a few more surprise critters. Yep, back up, sorry about all that. We're looking at the pothos, the emerged growth here. And there's the lovely honey gourami. Look at how beautiful that fish is. Again, another $5-6 fish that is happy to be alone and is just a stunner. So if you're just squirrely about keeping a betta fish and you have all these other tank mates, the dwarf honey gourami, not the dwarf gouramis can be more aggressive, like the blue one, and I think there's another strain. I know there's another strain, but those are slightly bigger and they're way more aggressive than these honey gouramis. And you can just have one, and I have one, and he'll peruse the tank left to right as he, and it is a he, mostly you buy males because they're much prettier, and that's what fish sellers tend to stock. And I'm not breeding, and I just wanted the one, right, in lieu of something like a betta fish, something with extraordinary color, in a way like how these longfin white coreodoras pop, so does the honey gourami, because, you know, your eye with this jungle could use some stark and bold contrast, and, you know, the red Bexford pencilfish wasn't it. It was kind of an error. I mean, I love these guys, but they blend, and, you know, maybe they're happy, but honestly, I'd love to have, you know, a contrasting fish. I've been thinking about live bears, obviously not in this tank, but the way certain platies and swordtails and mollies just explode with color. And I know it's been bred over the decades to get that way, and it's not as natural as this, and I'm all about the natural. But I have been fantasizing about, you know, bold pops of color in my aquariums. So I'm being tangential in this video. God only knows what I'll title it. It was supposed to be about this carpet, and so there's that. But I've talked about everything else, so I beg your pardon. I hope you enjoyed it anyway, and as always, keep your hands in the tank. Ciao for now.